Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining this next session of the Insights Tech Showcase today. Before we get started, just a reminder to leave any questions you have in that Q&A box, and we'll get to as many of those as we can at the end of the session. But I will go ahead and hand it over to Amanda.
Hello, my name is Amanda Ilnisky. I am VP of Product Management at Sago. We offer a variety of quantitative and qualitative research technologies for creating projects, connecting respondents, which could be your own sample or through seamless access to our proprietary panels and audience network, and for collecting the high quality data that you need to deliver reliable, impactful insights. The solution I'm sharing with you today is Methodify, which is our DIY quantitative data collection and analysis platform. So who is Methodify a good fit for? We work with everyone from huge multinational brands, clients in highly regulated industries such as finance and insurance, right through to niche small businesses and nonprofits. It's a DIY platform, and we can broadly group our users into two categories. We have those who are conducting repeatable research. So these are things like concept and ad testing, studies where the design and sometimes the target audience are consistent while the specific elements being tested in the study change. And then we have those who want to design and field a variety of ad hoc surveys that are different each time. Every great product needs a reason for being. Some way it serves to solve a problem or achieve an outcome in its own unique way. One key challenge that Methodify aims to address is how to combine all the standard capabilities that a market research professional would expect to have with a level of ease and usability that empowers even a non-researcher to create a survey in minutes with just a few clicks. No getting trapped in product documentation or spending hours on training. Then, to support such a diverse user base, we've built robust user controls and governance, ranging in sophistication from project level access controls, where you can control who can view a project, right through to building out an organization for your team, such that different users, perhaps with different skill sets or different roles in your company, maybe you have an insights professional versus a marketing manager, for example, those two users would experience the platform in different ways. Some users might have the ability to view versus create and edit versus launch new projects. You can control whether they spend money or don't have the ability to spend money. And if you're managing multiple teams and budgets, you can track transaction and budget history by group or division and more. So that's a lot of telling you about Methodify. Let's switch over to my browser so we can take a look at Methodify together. So here is our workplace. After logging in, this is where you land. It contains a searchable and filterable list of projects with the option to pin any project that you want to anchor for easy access. If you click on Marketplace, as I've done now, you get a list of the templated methods that our research team has created and made available to all Methodify users. Things like concept testing and ad testing in Monadic and sequential Monadic. Selecting any of these methods will create a project with the chosen method loaded as the survey element. So the methods available in our marketplace are pre-translated into English, French, and Spanish if you happen to want to field in translation. After you've created a method, you'll be prompted to enter some details. You'll need to create or connect a sample, and then insert the material being tested. This could be your creative concept or your message copy. At this point, you can also customize the method if you wish. So you can add your own questions. You're not really restricted to using only what's in the template. And then depending on how much customization you've made and your desire to continue using those same customizations in future studies, you might want to save this method, this combination of our questions and your questions, as a completely new method. Any custom methods you've saved are accessible here on the My Methods page, which you can get to from the top navigation. So as you saw, a project contains a survey and a sample. The methods available in our marketplace don't come pre-baked with samples, but the methods you create in My Methods could. For example, if I click on messaging test, it's an example of a customized method where if you were to create this project, there was a survey and it would be outfitted with the sample that's been defined here. So really, all that's left to do is launch. There's absolutely no configuration needed. that's a brief overview of methods. I'm going to head back to the workplace to share a bit about our survey builder and how easy it makes it to program your own ad hoc custom survey in just minutes. This time I'm going to build a new project. My project's going to need a name. I'll call it Demo Feb 7. And my intended languages. I can choose from English, French, and Spanish. I'm only going to do English today, so I'll choose English and save. So here we've got those two elements again. We've got the sample and the survey. Let's start by adding a survey. When I click Add Survey, I can choose from some surveys that I have saved in my library, or I can build a new survey. My survey, of course, will need a name of some sort, so I'll call it Survey Feb 7. And as before, I need to specify which language this specific survey will be. So I'll go with English and save. This brings me to a blank page where I can get started. I'll click Add. And there's 3 tabs here. The first is for blank questions. So this contains all the standard question types that you would expect to see. Choice, grids, carousel. Oh, our grids show they can be represented in carousel. There's open-end, numeric, ranking, all sorts of options. Methodify questions are some questions that we've designed and included as templates for you to add to a survey if you want. These are all pre-translated, as you can see here, English, French, Spanish. And then last, there is my question library. So there's nothing here in my example, but you have the option to save questions to your library for future use. Those questions are available to you and to any other Methodify users in your company if you're working as part of a team. So to get us started, I'll choose a few Methodify questions. How about I'll go like, dislike, I'll do an open end, and then maybe a multi here and add them to my survey. So once your survey contains some questions, you can click the edit link here. It's just located over here, and it'll bring up some options for changes you can make, obviously, to the question text and the answer options, but also you can configure skip logic, screening logic, masking, answer order if you want to use randomization or rotation for your answer options. And we also have an import answers capability. So this is great if you are adding a lot of options, like maybe a long brand list or a list of vehicle models. You can copy and paste your entire list at once instead of adding options individually to your survey. So once you've got some questions configured in your survey, you can preview it by clicking the preview survey button here at the top of the page. There's also an option to copy a survey link. So maybe there are some others who want to help review or test your survey. You can provide that link to them and they're able to see how the survey looks before it goes live. You can also generate a simulated report containing test data prior to fielding. If you want to see a preview of your report setup, you can check things like filters, your crosstab banners, and you can also verify that your skip logic is working the way you intended based on how the test data represent in that simulated report. To finish editing the survey, just click Done Editing, and it brings me back to my project, which now contains a survey. So the next thing I need to do is add a sample. You might have your own sample, or you can connect to an external sample. So I'm going to add a sample here. You can configure a new sample from scratch using Build New Sample. You can choose from some pre-configured templates we provide. If you want to create a new sample or maybe make changes to some of these templates, you can save them under your templates, and then those sample templates will be available for you to use in the future as well. So I'm going to choose US National Representation, which automatically adds it to my survey. If this was to my liking, if I'm completely happy with this, the project is technically ready to launch. That's all it took. Or I have the option of clicking Edit to make changes to the sample. So at the top of this page, it's been pre-configured for 1,000 completes. Maybe I don't want 1,000 completes. Maybe I only want 300. I could choose one of these options that are pre-configured here, or I could just type 300 and I'm ready to go. The sample is configured with 4 attributes here on the side. I can add additional targeting attributes if I want using this Add Criteria button here. And from here, I can review and configure the targeting that's been configured. So I'm looking for a US English sample, so when the English is selected, that looks good. I can review and adjust age breaks here. So we've got what is your age question. There's a few nets that have already been created. These look fine for a representative sample, but I could create different nets if I wanted. I can also set quotas on attributes, and we see this a lot for age and gender. So quotas can be simple, so single variate, age alone, or they can be interlocked, where you can combine more than one variable together to control how many responses you get. For example, combining age and gender so that you're getting a certain number of responses from males 18 to 24 versus females 18 to 24. Scrolling down, we have all of the states which have been automatically grouped into 4 regions. If you want to change these groupings for any reason, you can click Edit next to them. And here you can remove states that maybe you don't want to include in your sample, or you can change the groupings. You can create a completely new group if you want to have 5 regions instead of 4. There's lots of options that you can do here. So I'm going to keep the default grouping. And then when I'm done making changes to my sample, I click Done Editing. Everything automatically saves and the project is ready for launch. Once it's live, I can view results in real time using the onboard reporting, which we'll look at next. So to look at the reporting, I'm going to go back to my workplace and I'm going to choose a study that has some data in it already. I will click View Live Report to see what's been collected so far. The report loads and you'll see the filters over here contain the targeting attributes by default, but you have the option to add additional filters. Perhaps if you want to filter your report data based on something like a question within your survey instead of just your targeting attributes. So those are the filters. The survey questions themselves, for example, if I expand how much do you like or dislike this concept, you can view this as a chart or as a table. And you can also customize the chart using the settings. You can apply significance testing, and there's some chart options here. So this is a scale question. So I can specify whether I want to see the full scale, which is what I've done here, or I can use answer groups. Maybe if I want to see a top box and a low box. So I'll change this to answer groups and save it so you can see what that looks like. And now my responses are grouped into top box and low box. If your survey contains open-end questions, there are 3 representations available to you. So the first is a word cloud where it generates just a simple word cloud. You can view a list of all of your verbatims. And you can also generate an AI summary using our new AI summary capability. So these summaries are filterable. So if you wanted to change your filters and maybe see a summary of responses that were provided by males versus females, you could change your filter and then regenerate this summary so that the summary it displays represents the filtering that you've applied. If you happen to have received responses that are non-English, the summary will display in English. So this one's already had a summary generated. I have the option of copying it if I want to use it outside of Methodify, or I can regenerate it if I want to include maybe new responses I've received to my survey or some filtering that I've applied since it was last generated. You can generate these AI summaries individually for each open-ended question in your survey, or you can generate them all at once by going to the top of your report and clicking this Generate button over here. A couple more things you can do at the report level. For one, you can change the color palette in your report. So if you want to style your report, maybe you want to add a logo, kind of brand it for your own company, you can do that here, and it will change how the report displays. And then you have options to download a few different things. So you can download all of your raw data in a few different formats. You can get your verbatim questions. You can download crosstabs, and you can download a full report in either PDF or a PowerPoint format. So I've pre-downloaded a couple of these things for you. I'll show you the crosstabs first. So this is the crosstab export. Everything's really well organized. I've got all of my banners based on the filters that were applied to the report. Looks good. And then I have a PDF of my report. So the PDF looks the same as the PowerPoint export would. One key difference is that if you export the report in PowerPoint, every single element here, not just the visibility or non-visibility of the slides, but everything from the colors of these boxes to the text that displays to these charts, you can go in and make changes to the charts. Maybe you don't want a bar chart, maybe you want a different kind of chart. Everything is completely editable. So nothing is a static image. Everything is interactive and editable so that you can really customize your report to your liking. That was a lot. I hope it gave you a good overview of Methodify. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them now.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Amanda. And if anybody was joining late, everything will be available on demand as soon as the session is over. We have a few questions here. One from Frank. Does your survey builder for a concept testing project, for example, have the capability to use conjoint tools, ACBC, Maxdiff, etc.? If not, can a programmer use JavaScript or Perl?
Good question. So yes, we have the ability to integrate with conjoint technologies through our easy-to-use Qual link technology. You can absolutely do that.
Wonderful. Another question here regarding online sample. Does Sago have its own proprietary panel, or is the panel comprised using an aggregator?
So both of these things are true. Sago has proprietary online panels in many different markets, and we also have a sample network that we reach out to. So we can use sample from both places.
Perfect, thank you. And I know you kind of touched on this earlier, but what languages are available?
So at this time, our DIY platform supports English, French, and Spanish, and it's really geared toward research in the Canadian and US markets. That said, we can accommodate other languages and markets. It's just not fully DIY. So at Sago, we offer a flexible service model. So any client, whether you're DIY or otherwise, can get seamless access to our in-house operations data and insights team when and if you ever need. That we can totally accommodate that.
Perfect, thank you. Another question here. Is there a maximum limit to the number of answer options you can add to a choice question or grid?
That's a bit of a loaded question. So technically, no, but we are really strong advocates for keeping the respondent experience in mind when you're designing research. So that would include doing things like minimizing long answer lists and grids as much as possible, which is going to reduce dropout. It's going to prevent undesirable behaviors like straightlining and satisficing. So the design is up to you, but we strongly recommend that you keep things as short as possible.
Wonderful. And then last question here, we just have about 30 seconds left. What measures do you have in place to help ensure good survey data quality / prevent fraud?
Kind of going back to my previous point, research design is a huge data quality driver. So first and foremost, we recommend that your surveys are free of errors, clear, concise, and respectful of your respondents' time and effort. But at Sago, we're also committed to delivering reliable and high quality data through our partners and our own panels. And we do that through rigorous onboarding, management, and security screening. Then within Methodify itself, we have automated speeder checks, which flag responses that fall under the minimum acceptable LOI. And you can view your survey data in real time to spot any errors or inconsistencies.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Amanda. Thanks everyone for being here, and we will see you all in the next session. Appreciate your time.